Yes, listen all of the students. So chapter number 4, consumption and the replacement function we are discussing. So the next topic is super multiplier, then limitations of accelerator and the leveraging effect. These are the three topics in this class we are going to see. Limitations of accelerator, then super multiplier and then leverage effect. First of all, limitations of the accelerator. So in the previous class we saw in detail about the accelerator, meaning of accelerator, definitions and functions as well as assumption of the accelerator we saw in detail in the previous class. So the last part of the accelerator is limitations. There are some demerits are there while operating on the accelerator. Number one, capital output ratio is a constant. So one of the assumption in accelerator is capital output ratio is remaining constant. One of the assumption, but that assumption was not true because it is an unrealistic one. And in no circumstances the capital output ratio is a constant one. So it is an unrealistic one. So the first limitation is capital output ratio is a constant one. It is not a realistic one. That is unrealistic one. It is not a acceptable one. Then second one, resources are available before the full employment. So you know the meaning of full employment and underemployment. So the resources are available before the full employment. It is another limitation. Then excess capacity in capital goods industries is also assumed. So before that, the accelerator principle will not work under the unused excess capacity of consumer goods industries. If there is any unused or excess capacity of consumer goods industries are there, in such a circumstances, the accelerator will not be work. If there is any unused or excess capacity of consumer goods industries or existing means, under that circumstances, the accelerator will not be worked or operated. Likewise, the excess capacity in capital goods industries also be assumed. In such a case also, the accelerator will not be operated. Excess capacity in capital goods industries is assumed. Then the accelerator principle will not be worked. The increased demand is a permanent one. So one of the assumptions we saw, the demand should be increased. It should be a permanent one. One of the assumptions. But the accelerator will not work only. The increased demand a permanent one. It will not be a possible one. The demand will be a temporary one. So the increased demand must be a permanent one. One of the assumption, but it is not a possible one because the increased demand will not be a permanent one. That the accelerator principle will work only the permanent demand increase. If it is a temporary one, the accelerator principle will not be working or will not be working. And the next one is the accelerator principle will not work. Will work only the sufficient amount of credit available. Only the sufficient amount of credit facilities are available, then only the accelerator principle will be worked out, or otherwise it will not be operated. So under only the credit facilities are available, in such a case only the accelerator will be operated, or otherwise it will not be operated. So these are the various limitations of the accelerator principle. Number one, capital output ratio is a constant one. It is not possible one. It is an unrealistic one. Second one, the resources are available before the full employment resources. Then the accelerator principle will not be working if there is any excess capacity of consumer goods industries. If there is any excess means it will not be working. Similarly, the excess capacity in capital goods industries is also assumed. Then the accelerator principle work only the increased demand if it is a permanent one. If it is not permanent or temporary one, it will not be working. The last one is the accelerated principal will be work only the credit facilities are available or the credit available easy. In all these circumstances only the accelerated principal will be working. So these are the limitations of the accelerator. The next topic is super multiplier. Super multiplier is greater than the simple multiplier. We already discussed about the multiplier. That multiplier is called as simple multiplier. Here, this is a simple super multiplier. Why the super multiplier is greater than simple multiplier means, in case of simple multiplier, there is only autonomous investment. There is no induced investment. So, in case of simple multiplier, there exists only the autonomous investment, not induced investment. But in case of super multiplier, they are both autonomous multiplier as well as an autonomous investment and the induced investments are including. That means super multiplier includes both autonomous and the induced investment. But in case of simple multiplier, there is only one investment, which is known as autonomous investment. That is why the super multiplier is greater than the simple multiplier. Then J of X combined both the simple multiplier as well as the accelerated, then gives a new name which is known as super multiplier. So J of X combined the earlier concepts, that is multiplier and the accelerated, combined both the aspects and give a new name which is known as super multiplier. So K refers to multiplier, beta refers to the accelerator, just now we saw. Beta means the accelerator, K means multiplier. So the combination of both the multiplier as well as the accelerator given a new name which is known as super multiplier. This effort was taken by J of X. Then the super multiplier will be worked out combining of both induced consumption as well as induced investment. The super multiplier will be working out both the combining of or the combination of both induced consumption and the induced investment. This is a concept of super multiplier. I repeat once again, super multiplier is greater than the simple multiplier because the simple multiplier consists of only the autonomous investment, whereas the super multiplier includes both autonomous and the induced investment. According to J of X combined both the multiplier, that is multiplier as well as accelerator, given a new name which is known as super multiplier. The super multiplier will be worked out the combining of both induced consumption as well as induced investment. So this is the 2 mark question. Then next topic is leverage effect. The combined effect of the multiplier as well as the accelerator is called as leverage effect. It's nothing but leverage effect is nothing but the combined efforts of both multiplier as well as the accelerator is called as leverage effect, which may lead to the economy to very high or very low level of income. The leverage effects which leads to the economy to very high or low level of income. So the leverage effects symbolically can be said C plus symbolically the leverage effect will be y equal to C plus IA plus IY. So this is a symbolical of leverage effect. Y equal to aggregated income, y equal to aggregated income. C refers to consumption expenditure, IA refers to autonomous investment, IY equal to induced investment. So there are 4 important things. Y refers to aggregated income, C equal to consumption expenditure, IA refers to autonomous investment and IY refers to induced investment. So this is known as leverage effect. Leverage effect is nothing but the combined effects of the accelerator as well as the multiplier, which may lead to increasing the economy level with a very high income as well as very low level of income. It should be symbolically mentioned as y equal to c plus IA plus IY. So y equal to aggregated income, c equal to consumption expenditure, IA refers to autonomous investment, IY refers to induced investment. So with the end of the entire chapter, that is consumption and the investment functions. So far we have discussed a number of topics under the chapter 4. We will revise everything, the whole chapter we will be revised on tomorrow with a flow chart. You go through the entire lessons what we discussed for the past 10 days. So we will go through all these things and we will revise the whole portion or the whole lesson on tomorrow in the form of flow chart. So what are the questions asking in 2 mark and what are the important questions for the 5 mark questions, 5 mark part division, and what are the important 3 mark questions. This and all we will see on tomorrow under the flow chart manner. That's all. Thank you.